Welcome back to the gray zone. Well, actually, the grayer zone. It has been a long summer, and we are now back with a new group of students for our podcast class. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. To my left, because in podcasts they always give you directions so you can kind of visually see it, is...
Hi, my name is Faye, and I'll be one of the speakers for this podcast.
And then to her left as well, because we'll keep going left, because why not? We have
Brian Falls
on sound. And then to his left we have...
My name is San.
Very good, son.
And to San's left we have...
Salad.
And our final sound person...
Fez.
And not to mention we have good old A guy on recording us.
Please save me.
Hey, that's enough out of you, A guy. He is 100% fine and not a slave computer. Shut up. All right. Anyways, this podcast today is going to be about Gen Z, which my students are. So I thought it'd be a good topic for them to talk about. Today they're going to try to tell us what they want their teachers and school district staff to know about them. So we're going to open with one of the things they want from us is they want us to communicate honestly with them. All right, so what does that mean for a teacher to communicate honestly with you?
Well, personally, I don't like it when people beat around the bush on a topic. I'd rather you just tell me like straight up, or like tell me your actual opinion rather than being like, no, you're doing a great job. It's just like, no, tell me what I'm doing wrong and like, you know, help me fix it. Instead of being like, you're wrong, you can, and not telling me why I'm wrong, that's also gonna tick me off as well.
I agree with Faye. It's better for a teacher to be direct instead of kind of kissing your butt and wanting you to be a better student. Which you're the best teacher for that. Like not to kiss the butt, but to be direct.
What are you doing, Sam? Stay in your seat.
But to be direct.
All right. What do you think, Salad? Do you have some statistics for us?
According to Mila Eurosevic, the key to a successful business is trust. Trust is built on transparent communication. The way to achieve that is communication, honesty, feedback, and respect, and admitting when you're wrong. This helps build trust between team members.
Do you guys kind of see how a business and a school can kind of need the same things to run successfully?
Yeah, I can see it as the same thing because we have to work together in order to make this work and in order to get to our goal, which businesses and schools do have, at least I hope so.
All right. Okay, cool. I think we have one more fact about an honesty survey that somebody did, right?
Yeah, AYTM conducted an honesty survey back on April 30th, 2015. When an individual was asked how honest they were, 26% said they were sincere, 48% said they were honest, while 14% said they were somewhat honest, and 3% considered themselves dishonest. And the remaining 9% said they were neutral. When asked about others, 54% assumed other people are usually honest, but 90% of people agreed that honesty is a good thing. 84% believe that honesty is good in a business or brand, but 41% think that brands are at least somewhat honest with their customers.
Okay. Faye, do you consider yourself honest? And
I consider myself somewhat honest, and I feel like that's also because like that could also be considered like the way that you're raised, because like, all right, life hack: do not punish honesty. Like if your teenager says like, "Hey, I went to someone's house, I got a little bit too messed up," you shouldn't punish them because they're opening up to you, and that will cause them to lie more in the future.
Okay.
I very much agree with that statement.
So do you also consider yourself somewhat honest then?
I mean, the only time I'm ever dishonest is if I feel like I need to be in that, or like am avoiding someone or something.
Yeah. Son?
100% honest.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Can-
Lying just kicks you right in the butt afterwards, so there's no point in lying.
That is true. Alright. Anything else you guys want to say about that section before we move on? Alright. So next thing we're moving on to is you guys want respect.
We sure do.
Okay, so let's start off with what does respect mean to a teenager?
Respect is just treating us like people, like not looking down on us, like looking at us in an equal light that you see yourself.
Alright, yeah.
Respect is giving the same energy back to a teenager as you give to any of your buddies.
I think respect is just not treating anyone better than someone or treating someone worse than someone, I guess.
Alright. But do you guys see a difference between... Okay, let me say, so your teacher still needs to be your teacher and not necessarily like your buddy though, right?
It can
I
be
hope
both,
they're
though.
my teacher.
It can be kind of both though. Like you can have that relationship, but when it comes to working, you gotta work. Like, and the teacher has the responsibility, to shut off like the buddy side, and just work, Yvonne. Work.
Yeah, like that hypothetical Yvonne.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Sorry, I was speaking in my water bottle for a moment. Don't know if you got the echo. So,
Water.
I'm not a guy. I can drink water.
He hurts me.
One time, I was trying to use the disc cleaner, and I literally thought it wanted me to clean a disc. I'm sorry.
He's flying.
I'm just gonna fiddle around with this for a moment. Okay, there we go. All right, so respect. So you told me what it is. Do you guys? I don't know. Do you guys feel like you're getting it more now than you have in the past?
Most definitely. Like in my younger years, I sound like such an old person. I'm only 16. Back in the good old days, I used to be treated badly. Like, I don't know if I had some like attention issues. I probably did, just like undiagnosed like ADD or something. But like, I would get distracted a lot. I would like not understand questions, and that would get me into trouble a lot. So I got like way less respect back then, but I feel like as you get older, you get more respect because you're older, and I feel like it shouldn't be that way. Like you should show respect from like just show respect to young children. Maybe not baby them, like doing the baby voice, like, oh, you're doing so good, sweetie. It's just like, no, treat them like a person. They are a tiny person, but they're a person.
Okay, boomer. All right, so you feel like you're getting more now, Faye, than you used to?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, son?
Can you repeat the question one more time? Darb.
Okay, son. Do you feel like you get more respect now than you used to?
I think. Excuse me. I think most definitely yes, but it's not because I'm older. I think it's just simply like anybody can get more respect as long as they're mature about like most situations and don't like just laugh like I guess most kids do. But you know, it's just how you act in front of adults. Like, you know, if you act like a kid, they're gonna treat you like a kid.
Okay. Whether or not that's fair. Okay. What about you, Salad?
I agree with all of those statements. I feel like really the more mature you are, the more respect you're gonna get. The more immature you act, the more you're gonna be treated with less respect.
All right. Okay, so a little peek behind the curtain. It's not just the speakers. We actually have a full team that help us kind of put together talking points for this. So I just want to give out a thank you to Brian Falls, Fez, Blondie, Mr. Moon, Botman, Josephi, King, and then as well as the speakers, they also helped put together the talking points as well. Even A Guy helps.
Yes.
He is a very helpful guy. A real guy.
Very real guy. Not a computer at all.
A real lad.
So I think we have some other talking points about respect though. So what do we have?
We have, I don't know where this is from, but it says, attendance is important for graduation rates. Freshmen who are on track are 4 times more likely to graduate than freshmen who are behind. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. McKeever and colleague Linda Clark looked at school start times, graduation rates, and attendance rates for 30,000 students in 29 high schools across 7 states. They found that 2 years after a delayed start was implemented at these high schools, average attendance rates and graduation rates had increased several percentage points.
So how was your guys' freshman attendance? Did you attend in freshman year very well, or like did you?
Okay, this is a little bit complicated since like for my freshman year I was in online school, so basically you had to attend like
By logging on and then you could just walk away and then log back off.
either contacting a teacher by phone or email or going on to like the live lessons.
Okay.
And I kind of sucked at that because I was a night owl. I was never awake during the day, and that's when most of the teachers are awake during the day. So my attendance was not that great. I would keep getting warnings being like, the child hasn't contacted the teacher in 2 weeks. What the heck?
2 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be 2 weeks, but that notice would still show up, and I'll be like, my mom would yell at me, and I'm just like, okay.
What about you, Son? How was your freshman attendance?
It was pretty good at first. I was keeping up with my work, so you know there was no point in me skipping. I was there most days. I started skipping when I just didn't like when I noticed that I wasn't gonna pass some classes and it was too late. I just felt like there was kind of no point in me going, so I left early. It was usually only like my last periods though.
All right. What about you, Salad?
My freshman attendance was not that good at all. I started skipping school a lot just because there was a lot of negative distractions there
Yeah.
at my old high school, and yeah. and pretty much I switched schools and I couldn't skip there really at all, and then it started getting better.
Oh, Darb, always making mistakes.
Yep. So,
What'd you do?
what do you guys think of that statistic that those who attend their freshman year are 4 times more likely to graduate?
I think it's true because from what I've heard from a lot of teachers, it's like it's crucial to start off strong in freshman year because that's kind of how it builds up. Like for math, it keeps on advancing and stuff, and it just gets more difficult. So.
Yeah, I remember back when I first started my high school at an assembly, they were talking about how people who start skipping their freshman year build bad habits and will continue to do that or just drop out eventually. And I think that starting your freshman year off just working hard and doing everything you're supposed to do develops really good habits to graduate high school.
I agree with that because, like, if you start off strong in your freshman year, it builds momentum and it builds that structure that you need to keep going.
Okay. So it sounds like all 3 of you kind of said at some point your attendance kind of was not great your first year. Would you say you've gotten that turned around now?
I hope so.
Yes,
I hope so.
only because we're being, I wouldn't say forced to, because if we really,
Well,
We
sort
kind
of.
of are.
if we really wanted to, we could skip it, and there'd be consequences. But, yeah, I think my attendance has definitely improved.
All right. Okay. Anything else in respect we want to touch? Any other talking points?
Weird silence.
Teachers need to understand that no significant learning occurs without a significant relationship. Dr. James Comer, in the life of a modern day teen is much, much more stressful than the life of a teen back in the day.
Yeah. So that gets to the whole point, and I remember this from teaching school. They don't care what you know until they know that you care, and it's basically talking about your students. Like you could be a science teacher or whatever, and trying to teach them about the water cycle, but they're not going to listen until they know that you actually care about them as an individual, not just as like a number or whatever. So getting back to the freshman attendance thing, do you guys feel like part of that was you didn't feel like the teacher cared whether you were there or not?
Oh, yes.
Most definitely.
So, yes. Like, in my child development class, I noticed that, the teacher seemed very, very friendly with me and constantly, said, "Hi, Juan, how are you doing?" And, obviously she was nice, but she only, helped the goody tissues do good and, work and stuff. And I noticed that she didn't want to come up to anybody who actually needed the help.
Did your online teachers care about you, Faye?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I only ever had one teacher that seemed to care about me skipping and never bring it up to me, and that didn't help because I was just failing in my classes and didn't really care. But
did you still go to that class even though?
I attended that class definitely more than my others, I'd say, just because
Yeah.
I had respect for that teacher.
Okay.
Bring?
All right. Okay. Unless you guys have something else, I think we keep moving. So next up, you guys do have one more. Okay.
Alright, so according to ASCD, students feel unheard and disrespected in school. This often leads to distrusting your peers and assuming that they don't care. And I don't remember who said this, but in an article that I read, this guy said that students are like stray animals. Without trust, they are unapproachable.
So you want me to trust that stray animal's not going to bite me?
Well,
Okay.
maybe if it's not a raccoon or a
I-
possum.
I look like a raccoon when I wake up.
Thank you,
Me.
Brian. All right. So that's lots of good points on respect. Next, we have technology. All right. So the joke goes that stop me if you've seen this political cartoon before. It's two older generation people, and they're reading a newspaper or something, and it says that teenagers have high rates of depression, and then one of them turns to the other one, and it must be that new iPhone. So there's this.
Okay, boomer.
There's this perception with you guys that a lot of your problems are just have to do with your addiction to technology, the way people act online with each other. I don't know. Do you guys agree with any of that? Like, do you feel like there is some of your problems might just be from technology?
To some degree, because like when you're like on social media, thank you, because when you're
What is going on? That's not me
Stop it.
anymore. That was the computer. Hey, guy.
Alright, technology is a problem.
he loves Jeopardy.
It's the only thing I let him watch.
That worked out.
Because like with like all the social media and stuff, like you get to see like bad news all the time. It's much more apparent. You get to see a lot more worse things. And because of the power of the internet, you can Google really bad things too. You can give yourself nightmares. But also, I disagree because nightmare. I got distracted, sorry. I disagree because like what helped me get through like this online school phase that I had for like a year and a half was like my online friends. They'd be there to support me. They were the only people that I was talking to. With the lack of human interaction and the lack of time that I go outside, I became severely depressed.
All right. So, what about you? We're gonna switch it up a little bit. What about you, Salad?
What was the question again? Sorry.
Oh, I rambled too much again.
There was Jeopardy music and all that.
Yeah, a guy messed with us for a moment.
Critical error for 200.
Pretty funny, a guy. Pretty funny. So they say you guys are addicted to technology. They say a lot of your problems are because of technology. Do you agree with any of that?
I'm not a scientist, but I'm definitely pretty positive that it affects people probably in large ways that we won't know for a long time, I'd say. Probably mentally, emotionally, just, I don't know.
All right. All right. And last but not least, of course, Son. What do you think?
If you're a weak-minded individual, the social media should not be for you, because it could easily affect how your day's going. Like, oh, I'm having such a good day, and then you look online and you see some negative post, and
Yeah.
it could maybe be directed towards you, and it could like ruin your entire day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if that's something that easily ruins your entire day, you probably should not look at it at all.
Yeah, so don't go to Reddit 50/50.
Don't go to Reddit.
Just don't go. Just don't go.
Maybe if it's a subreddit for a video game or something, you might be okay. Might be okay.
Debatable.
That's why I said might. All right. So what about the idea that being on technology too much makes you antisocial, or at least asocial. I believe we have some talking points on that.
Many people believe that technology creates antisocial tendencies within people, but this is untrue. Everybody can be antisocial, whether you're 10 or 56. It all just depends on how you are feeling that day.
I agree, because I know this from personal experience. Like one day I'll be like, even like 1 hour, I'd be like really social, and then the other hour, I'm gonna be like, I gotta get out of here, I hate this, I'm gonna go and cry in the bathroom. But that's just me. I don't know how other people are, but based on personal experience, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it helped me get back in touch with my former college roommates this summer. I hadn't talked to them in like, wow.
Since you played WoW?
Hardy Harfey. No, I haven't talked to them in like at least 6-7 years or something. I finally reconnected. So shout out to Reverend and Manly. I love you guys. Anyways, I reconnected with them via PlayStation Network, and now I have their phone numbers again, and we're texting every once in a while, and so it's pretty awesome. Yeah. So I think technology can bring us together if used the right way.
If used correctly, yes.
Yeah. There's what's that comedian? Somebody that does he does the Pachelbel rant. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he also has this song. He's one of those singing comedians like Stephen Lynch. He has a song "There's Always an A-hole" on the internet. Pretty funny. I think that's accurate too. I think we have more talking points about the antisocial stuff, though, right?
Yeah.
In one study by Pew Research, it says 24% of teens from 13 to 17 who are constantly online see their friends almost every day, and 23% of 14s who are less frequently online.
Hey, guy.
Hey, guy!
52%.
Sorry, what were you saying, Son? You guys having random sound effects pop out like burps.
50,
I hate the children.
Okay, hey, guy.
52% of teens that say they don't use online frequently claim that they see their friends every day. 69% of teens that go online frequently claim to see their friends every day. What?
Basically saying, I think it's saying the ones who don't go online say that they don't always hang out with all of their friends, like they don't get a chance to get in touch with all of them, whereas those who are online usually end up talking to most of their friends, or at least connecting. I think that's what that Pew Research report was saying. Pew, 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 pew. Star Wars in here for a moment. All right, what else do we have on technology?
Howard Rheingold is the author of the virtual community, virtual reality tools for thought, founder of Electric Minds, named by Time magazine, one of the 10 best websites of 1996. Okay, I don't know why that was in there. You guys know sign language?
Yeah. So I'm actually learning sign language. That's neither here nor there. And our script editor, Blondie, is giving me a look right now because we're way off topic.
I
I
read that last part about Howard Rheingold, and it is totally. I don't know how that fits.
I think that's the person. I think that's some interviewer or something like that. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about? Oh, excuse me. About technology?
Technology cannot solve all of our problems. However, each problem is unique in its own way. so it won't work for every situation.
Oh yeah, so okay, I'm reading this book and it's called Gen Z at Work, and I have a question for you because it brought up an interesting point. So it talked about how like Generation X and Boomers and traditionalists to an extent, you know, the ones who raised the Boomers, how like the idea of just randomly getting into a stranger's car like via Uber is like weird to them. How do you feel about getting into a stranger's car for Uber, Faye?
That's weird to me, and I'm not a boomer. I was like always raised on like, don't go into a stranger's car unless you have like someone else trustworthy there, like your mother. And I'm just like, I'm not going into a stranger's car without my mommy.
All I can say about that is boomers use taxis.
Taxes?
Taxis. Well, so it's a father-son who wrote the book, and the father brings up this like, you know, what if they kidnap you? What if they this? And the son's like, look, I have their license plate number. My phone has GPS on it, so they can track the car. And then like, and the kid also says, and if it's gonna murder me, a taxi driver could murder me just as easily as an Uber driver.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel it gets into the point that technology, you guys grew up with it, so the new things coming out of it, like Uber and Lyft, and what are some new, like Airbnb and things like that? You know, those are just they're the new normal rather than being something weird. What do you think about that, son? Like, would you get in an Uber? Have you ever used Uber?
I've never used it, but I might eventually. My mom raised me kind of a certain way where to not really trust strangers. Like sometimes when I'm like in a store with her, and in Spanish she whispered to me, "That man's gonna take you if you don't stop messing around." Like straight up. And
Okay. All right. Well, I've been in Uber twice and I'm still here, but
Are you really?
or a UA.
Are you an AI?
He's a B guy.
I'm a B guy, yeah.
He's a bee.
So yeah, that was just an interesting thing that brought up. So I was kind of curious about that. What you guys thought. All right, we're gonna move into our last section now. Keep this going. Now we are talking about what's our last section?
We're talking about what encourages students to stay on task in class. So, I wrote some bullet points down that I think help encourage students in class. One of them is that I think assignments need to have clear instructions and should not be confusing. And what I mean by that is, an example would be to give a rubric, which is like what would I say?
It's like a fancy little table. You what?
It's like instructions.
Excuse me.
I
To-
thought you were gonna be Winnie the Pooh for a second.
So that's one thing that I think is really important to have students doing their work, is knowing what they're doing and not being confused on it. And another would be having a helpful, patient, and understanding teacher who has time to listen and always has good suggestions for your questions and stuff like that. Another is reduce distractions in the classroom, such as having like crazy unnecessary posters or just having bad seating charts where kids are talking to each other and constantly distracted can make them unencouraged and just not being on task if they're
That reminds me of my previous
seated in
theory.
bad spots. Another is having more physical hands-on assignments, less packets and reading assignments that are handed out without discussion, meaning the teacher just hands them a packet and goes and sits at their desk and the student
I
Probably.
feel like I have to say Faye was giving like so many praise hand signals to everything Sally just said about the packets.
Yeah, But the reason I put that in there isn't because I don't want to do packets. It's I mean, I don't want to do packets, but it's mainly because I just don't like when teachers give me a packet and then I'm sitting there feeling really unmotivated and they don't even discuss it with us. I'm not saying my teachers do that, but that is a thing that happens.
Not saying that any of our teachers do that, but this teacher.
And then
She just
another
pointed
one.
at me.
Another one.
I feel attacked.
Another one is keeping students interested in the topics you are learning, which I don't know, like, how to give an example of that, but
Twerking molecules.
twerking molecules.
Yeah, I taught my science class that, which Faye and Salad and Ben are actually in, and they remember this because it traumatized them.
Yeah. I have PTSD now.
All right. So another thing I read in that book, I'm just gonna keep plugging it because why not? It's not like we get any actual money from this. That Gen Z at work. So it also mentions that if you guys don't see how it's gonna apply to you helping get a job later, you don't really care too much. Is that accurate?
100%.
Yeah.
What was that?
If when I'm teaching you in class or whatever, what any teacher's teaching you in class, if you don't directly see how it ties into you getting a job and feeding yourself and putting a roof over your head, you don't care too much.
I feel like a lot of students bring that up in class, like, oh, why should I be doing this? It's not going to help. But one thing about having a job is learning how to do things you're not comfortable with and are unfamiliar with. So I don't really feel that way, but it depends on really what it is, I guess.
E.T.
I think it could go either way. It's always good to have like some sort of knowledge of any subject, even though trash is whack. But yeah.
No. Don't do that.
All right. So, okay, we're just gonna, let's say you guys were a school board, and let's say we were completely changing the way school is in America. What? Don't finish that song. That song's not appropriate.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say we're doing our school, right? So, and let's say we're talking 1 quarter. So, if school system was changing, what would be the 4 classes you think should be taught? Things that are going to help you, like, get a job or things like, what would be the 4 classes that should be taught? Forget, like, the subjects we have now, like, what would be the 4 things that should be taught?
I would say number 1, either metals or woodworking. They get paid pretty.
School type stuff,
Yeah.
like welding and things like that. Okay, metals and woodworking. What do you got, Faye?
Engineering.
Engineering's a good one. But like, well, first of all, just for existing, I think that there should be classes on like sewing and cooking. I forgot what that kind of class is called.
Home ec, I think.
Yeah,
Teen
home
cuisine.
ec.
Teen cuisine.
Is that what they called it at the high school?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Sounds like lean cuisine. Those are nasty.
And like classes on like if you're gonna start like a business, even like a small one, how you should go about it and how you should like budget yourself.
So yeah, like a budgeting / taxes / paying bills math class, so where it's more focused on that stuff.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. What about, so, you know, you guys kind of mentioned math. You mentioned like engineering, which is kind of a science. So you got the science in there. So like the social studies one, mainly maybe like How to watch the news and vote intelligently or something like
Oh my
that.
god, yeah.
Please do.
I would say life skills.
A life skills
Yeah, I was
class of
thinking
some
that whole
sort.
time. I was thinking.
What were
life
you?
skills,
Okay,
like-
what does life skills mean to you?
To me, it means like what skills we can apply after high school, like buying a car, how to buy a car, or how to pay taxes and bills, or how to invest and
Okay.
stuff like that. Or
Alright.
like she said, sewing, cooking.
Okay.
I think another good one would be, this might sound a bit stupid, but band. Like, I know a lot of people
I
that
had a band class, but the teacher was mean.
I know a lot of people, for example, my dad, that have made quite a bit of money off of like being a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what you want to do, you know, it's always good to know an instrument.
That's true. I know Germany and a lot of European schools, they have it set up where like there's 2 tracks in high school. There's a I want to go to college track, you know, and like you have to take a test to get on and get in those classes in high school, and then those classes prepare you to go straight to college. And in Germany, college is actually already paid for.
Yeah, it's free.
Oh.
That does. I mean, they do have slightly higher taxes and stuff, you know, but still, college is paid for if you go that route, or you go the trade school route. So you don't have to take the college entry exam test. You just take the classes that will get you the job you want, basically in high school. So you can basically go into a job at the end of high school, if there's openings.
Guess who's gonna learn German?
Yeah, that sounds really
Isn't that kind of
like
like
how
woodworking
school should
now?
be set up.
Isn't that kind of like what?
Woodworking. If you do all like 2 years of it or 3 years. of
It depends if your teacher is a CTE, you get associate credits, which is basically like community college level credits. So that would help. And I think associate credits, I don't know if that's what they give at trade schools or not. That's a good question. I'll look into that for you. All right, we actually need one more thing, Son.
Another good class would be like, instead of only Spanish, any type of language that you want to learn, you know?
I know,
Yeah.
like when I went to online school, they had like a sign language option. At first, I was taking Spanish, but I hated the sound of my own voice, so I took sign language instead, and I don't remember anything.
If you know Spanish like really well, you can get a job in Mexico to be a translator, and you get paid like
Translators can make a lot of money, especially if you get with a big company. Yeah, the main languages are English, French, and Spanish. Espanol, yeah. Okay, we have to start wrapping up. So we're going to sign off. This is Darb.
This is Faye.
San Juan Lan Khan.
Sally.
And again, a big thanks to Brian Falls and Fez on sound, Blondie, our script doctor, manager, editor, whatever, and Mr. Moon, Botman, Josephi, King, helping us get the script put together. Join us next time on the Grayer Zone, and we are signing off.